Hey, my name is Raymond Weitekamp. I am the founder and CEO of polySpectra, and today we are going to talk about the brutal reality that is digital manufacturing. So, to set the stage here, product innovation cycles are accelerating exponentially. Things are moving faster and faster. We're living in a completely different era, and I'm showing here Schumpeter's cycle of innovation with these waves of innovation that are compressing. Every new cycle is shorter than the last. And so our time scales of innovation are getting squeezed. Here's a quick example. I really want to emphasize that the stakes of this acceleration, the consequences of missing out on acceleration are very high. So, for simple example, in the last 15 years, more than 50% of Fortune 500 companies have disappeared. And in 1955, if you were on the Fortune 500, you could expect to be there for 55 years. In 2015, that's only 15 years. Okay? So the consequences of not moving quickly are very high for leading organizations. Let's take some extreme examples. We've got the 2020 model of a car, the 2021 model of a car. You pretty much have one product experiment per year. On the other end of the spectrum, you've got Facebook, you've got Microsoft, you've got Amazon.com. There are thousands of Facebook.coms being run in parallel, constantly testing different things. There are thousands of Amazon.coms constantly testing different things. You've got more than 10,000 product experiments per year. Okay? So you might say, well, that's not possible to do with hardware. And again, what we're focused on is that digital to physical, digital manufacturing transformation. But I can say there are a couple folks doing a pretty darn good job of applying that rapid testing mentality from the software world to hardware. So maybe you don't know this, but there's no 2021 Model S. There are going to be 52 2021 Model S's. Every single week, Tesla is changing the build of the Model S. They're testing, they're learning, they're trying out new ideas. And you might say, that's crazy. Definitely for the old guard auto manufacturers, a new build every single week might seem a little bit dangerous. If you're at a company where you can't even get permission to spend $1,000 in a week, that might seem ludicrous, but it seems to be working out pretty well for them. So this is possible in hardware. It's not just a software game. And I really want to emphasize something about learning cycles, right? You call this an experience curve or a learning curve or a cost curve. It's a function of the number of units produced. It's not a function of time. So if you can turn the crank faster, you're going to learn faster, you're going to lower costs faster, you're going to get the benefits of that experience curve faster. So let's just look at this. Top 7, well, technically top 6, there's two alphabets listed here, but what's the common thread? I would argue that the common thread amongst the top companies in the S&P 500 is the speed of product innovation. And you might say, well, this is kind of clustered in a certain kind of technology, digital technologies, but no one is safe. This transformation is happening across every single industry. We're seeing it in medical, we're seeing it in electronics, we're seeing it in consumer products, we're seeing it in dental products, seeing it in aerospace, automotive components. Every single industry is accelerating, and there are folks that are going to be on the leading edge of that and benefiting from that, and there are folks that are missing out. It's brutal today. Customers want it all. They want it fast. They want to be immediately fulfilled with same-day shipping. They want novelty. There are infinite shelf spaces now, and the whole idea of like shelf space is kind of ridiculous. So people want unique product experiences. They want high performance. They want the best in class. People will pay a huge premium for the best device, the best product. They want to know that it's safe. They want to know it's safe for themselves. They want to know that it's safe for the environment. And connected to this novelty, people want personalization. They want it to be for them. They want it to say something about themselves. And maybe a lot of these examples are more consumer oriented, and you might think, oh, this is only relevant to B2C or D2C companies. But let's be real, like in the B2B world, companies want fast solutions right away that are tailored for them. It's equally relevant on both the B2B and the B2C side. So in summary, we're simply spoiled by speed, okay? We want it all. We've got this infinite shelf space, and we need instantaneous delivery. But unfortunately, this promise of digital manufacturing has not been delivered. Lots of stories, lots of marketing, but it's not happening. And the reality of digital manufacturing is uncertain. We're on shaky ground, and there's really no solid foundation. This is manufacturing. We need that reliability. We need that safety. We need that certainty to have a foundation to make the transformation from traditional manufacturing into this new world of digital manufacturing. So there's 3 top risks. There's 3 top uncertainties that are preventing the adoption of digital manufacturing. So the first one is uncertain durability of the materials. Think about it. We take materials for granted. It's the foundation of the physical item. It is the chemistry. Everything is chemistry. Everything is connected to the chemistry of the material. And if you can't trust that to survive, then you are not going to make a production product that's going to break on your customer, or going to cause safety issues, or going to reduce the warranty of a high quality, high performing product. Second, uncertain costs. So this is the financial foundation of any business decision. You can't bet on something if you have too much uncertainty around the cost. And the third is uncertain design requirements, right? So if the materials uncertainty is about the underlying durability, the design is uncertainty around what is it going to take to achieve the function that you want of that product. And while there's a really widespread adoption of what you call rapid prototyping, and you can buy a decent printer for a couple $1,000 and you can print things that look like what you're going to make, there are very, very, very few teams that know how to design for additive manufacturing and know how to make that transition from, let's say, injection molding to direct additive manufacturing of production parts. So let's go through risk number 1, materials durability. This is something extremely close to my heart as a materials chemist. But the bottom line is that 3D printed materials typically lack the durability of traditionally manufactured materials. So we're not out to start any fights here, but let's just say that this supposedly engineering grade material in black on the right side of the screen is quite easily crushed by a pretty simple low impact force, and core alpha is happily bouncing around, going along for the ride. So this is just a visceral way of displaying the brittleness, the lack of impact strength, the weakness and overall lack of durability of the typical materials. So that extends to poor working temperatures. That extends to UV weathering. You can't put these things outdoors. That extends to thermal degradation if the temperature is cycling. I won't go down the rabbit hole of the biocompatibility, the toxicity, the leaching concerns of the traditional 3D printing materials. But these are really not materials that are capable of having the basic properties that you take for granted in any polymer product in your everyday life. And that's to be tough, to withstand high temperature, to be safe for you, to be safe for your body. Okay, so again, this is the founding problem that we set out to solve at polySpectra. And you can see here that there is a very big white space in terms of materials that can do tough and hot at the same time. I don't see very many. Again, I don't really like to spend a lot of energy knocking other people's products, but the brutal reality is this chart hasn't really changed in 5 years. There are very few materials that have the ruggedness required to do direct production, additive manufacturing of parts that are going to displace injection molding. And if you want to learn more about the specific properties of Core Alpha, you can go to this Genius/Core Alpha TDS link up here at the top to learn more of the specific properties. I'm going to highlight just a few here and share that we feature very high chemical resistance, low water absorption, high working temperatures. The thermomechanical properties are rugged and durable. We can retain most of the impact strength of the material across a really wide range of temperatures, from cryogenic temperatures to temperatures that would get you, let's say, under the hood of a car. We have perfect grade 0 10993-5 cytotox score. Very good dielectric properties. This is an amazing insulator with very, very low loss. Very impressive ultimate tensile strength and elongation of break, which I might mention is something that we can tune for our customers to meet your application needs. Okay, so that is how we are approaching solving this materials uncertainty. Give a really, really strong and rugged foundation for the material that we're going to be manufacturing out of. Let's go to number 2, cost uncertainty. So there's going to be 2 camps of folks watching this video. There's going to be a group that is doing a lot of printing, that's nodding along and really maybe feeling a little bit embarrassed about how much money they've sunk into these technologies and learned the hard way about these cost uncertainties. And maybe there's going to be a second camp that has no idea what I'm talking about. And hopefully we're going to save that second camp a lot of money and a lot of frustration and a lot of wasted time. But just a few of the things that nobody talks about in 3D printing are, let's say, material waste, extremely labor-intensive post-processing that is never showed. You always see the awesome, amazing finished product picture. You don't see behind the scenes how many little things were clipped off, how many things were smoothed and polished manually, how much gunk was manually removed. Extremely narrow process windows. So trying to do these things in-house, I mean, you have to have a room that is exactly this temperature to this temperature. You can't print in October. You can't print if the humidity is too high. These things are ridiculous. Very high failure rates. For those who are actively printing, I would like you to just honestly assess what is the yield on the printer that you're using today. What percentage of parts come out exactly how you wanted them. And there's a lot of uncertainty around these closed systems, walled gardens. People want to get you into their platform, take care of everything for you, but not let you leave, not let you see what's actually going on. So there's a lot of uncertainty on the costs, and frankly, this kills project profitability. You got excited about something, you made a cool prototype of it, but the numbers aren't there for it to be production. So how do we think about this? We think about predictable processes. We think about the chemistry, the hardware, the software working in lockstep. So from digital to mechanical to chemical, everything is synchronized. We work extremely hard to build robust process windows, super fast, super modular post-processing, have unit operations that are automatable for those high volume customers, high yield prints with high quality process parameters. We work in an open ecosystem. I'm not trying to sell you a specific printer. I'm happy to recommend my favorite printer to you. I'm also happy to make my resin work on your favorite printer and work with your team to curate a whole solution of the printers, post-processors, resin, software, hardware, chemistry, everything that is going to meet the specific needs of your production, additive manufacturing operation. And support, right? Let's work together. People need help, and a lot of the typical solutions that are out there just really lack the engineering expertise in the support teams to make their customers successful. Finally, design uncertainty. So I said it before, design for additive manufacturing, some people call it DFAM. That is an extremely rare skill. Why? Because almost no one is designing for additive manufacturing. People are doing rapid prototyping, people are doing rapid tooling, but there are extremely few teams that are truly designing for production additive manufacturing. And this might seem easy on a more consumer, prosumer, hobbyist grade printer. Automatic support sounds great. Orient it, print it. But if you are really truly designing for production additive manufacturing, you need to rethink everything. And the digital design piece is incredibly important, and it's incredibly expensive, and it frankly is really hard. You have to think about support structures. You have to think about things like the minimum wall thickness. Is the material that you're working with isotropic or not? Do you need to account for that in the design? What's the overhang angle that you can tolerate? Are you going to see layer lines? Are you going to have the surface finish that you want straight out of the printer, or is there going to be some post-processing to achieve that? Are you going to hit the tolerances that you want, and do you need to modify the digital design or the print process to compensate, to adjust and make sure that you're printing accurate parts with the tolerances required for your application? So again, this is really hard. Frankly, not something that I wanted to get good at, and not something that we initially sought out to solve when we started polySpectra, but incredibly important. And so we have taken a physics-driven approach to digital manufacturing, to design for additive manufacturing, and we've spent a ton of money getting good at this out of necessity, because we realized the hard way that it wasn't there. And that involved hiring people from top schools, hiring people from super innovative product companies, from other additive manufacturing companies with a lot of that in-depth experience. So what are some of the ways that we approach this? I've included 3 here. One is implicit modeling, field-driven modeling, and really using math to design your parts. The second is a capability in failure analysis, so finite element methods and how to map the simulation to the true experiment, to the actual failure mode of the physical product. And third is this sort of mysterious term of design for additive manufacturing. What does that mean? It's a real skill. There's a lot of detail involved in design for additive, and it requires a completely different mindset than designing for injection molding. Okay, so I hinted at this in the last slide. In theory, there is no difference between theory and practice. In practice, there is. So there is a big valley of death between simulation and experiment, and this is something that a lot of teams find out the hard way. It's very expensive. It's something that is a necessary evil, so to speak, of trying to predict performance. And you're going to want to make sure that you have that capability on your team, or you're working with a team that can help you bridge that valley of death from the predicted performance to the actual performance of the final part, the final product. Okay, so unfortunately, I about 99% of the problems that we have helped our customers solve are locked away under NDA. And I can assure everyone watching this that we do take our customers' intellectual property extremely seriously. And so unfortunately, we can't share many of the most fun, the most exciting projects that we're working on behind the scenes with leading organizations that are adopting additive manufacturing as part of their transformation into a digital manufacturing world. But I can share that we are doing this across a number of industrial manufacturing verticals with the true leaders. So true leaders in auto, aero, industrial, robotics, defense, doing a lot in medical and dental, consumer products, electronics, both consumer facing as well as industrial. So there are two quick stories that I'm going to share, that I am allowed to share, that I think will give you a taste of the kinds of capabilities that we're able to offer our customers. So the first is a really fun story with Evil Components. This is the direct additive manufacturing of aftermarket motorcycle products. So Heath Townsend, who is the founder of Evil Components, literally told me, I have been waiting for a material like this for a very long time. I mean, he didn't think that this was possible, and he had this vision for a lightweight, biomimetic, customized, and printed on demand product that he couldn't realize because the materials just weren't there. And he was printing on FDM printers to get prototypes, but the properties weren't there to be the final product. He was kind of thinking about, maybe this just has to be metal. Maybe I need to go to metal AM, but the price point was too crazy for him to do that. And so we were able to print the majority of the component out of Core Alpha, and then have him actually integrate the metal hardware directly into the Core Alpha part with a really nice, snug, and durable fit. So that's another thing that adds a lot of complexity, is integrating traditional hardware with additive manufacturing parts and components, and we would love to help you with that. And I guess just to kind of share the last piece is, this is fast. He was able to go from prototype to production quality parts in months. And that's no tooling. There's zero inventory for him. When his customers buy them, we print them. And he calls that grown to order. Really, really fun example. Okay, a second one that I want to share is with our partners at RespiraWorks. This was during the height of the COVID uncertainty around March 2020, and we were able to help them print functional medical device components to actually enable their distributed team of, I think, something like 200 engineers in maybe 20 different countries to work together and get to regulatory qualification with additively manufactured parts that we provided for them. And here, Edwin, who is the lead engineer there, told us, FDM did not have the strength to be used in this application. They were cracking a lot of parts. They also tried printing on a ton of SLA printers and were getting, brittle parts that were failing. We're getting extremely inaccurate prints that were not fitting together. And so this was a really fun story. We did a full webinar with them, which you can check out at the Genius link /RespiraWorks. But again, this enabled a globally distributed development team to get to their device qualification with printed parts that were accurate, that were rugged enough to cycle. They were getting thousands of cycles on this pinch valve that I'm showing in the bottom, and super rapid part turnaround. So, in a day, they've got a new part, a new component on the doorstep, ready to try the next iteration of the product, moving super, super fast. Okay, so I just want to share, before we wrap up, a few different ways that we can possibly work together. Our job is to accelerate innovation. Our mission is to help designers, inventors, and engineers make their ideas real. And we are happy to do that in whatever mode works best for you. So we can start all the way at design. We shared a little bit of the design for additive manufacturing. If you're still working on the design, whether you are still developing it, don't have those capabilities yourself, just want to bounce some ideas off of an expert, we can start there. We print a lot of parts for customers, quickly turn around, show them what we can do. We bring resin on site to help our customers and their preferred manufacturers directly print their products. And we're also happy to work on partnerships where we're going to solve a really, really big problem together. So super quickly, again, if you're at the design stage and you're ready to accelerate your innovation with additive manufacturing, we're happy to sit down and chat, take a look at the application and how we might be able to help you at polyspectra.com/design. If you've already got high resolution STLs, you already are printing, that's already a part of your workflow, and you just want to see what we can do, or you want zero inventory parts on demand, go to polyspectra.com/parts. Again, this particular link is really only useful if you already have the high resolution STL file that you are ready to print. So if you or someone on your team doesn't have that, I would recommend starting at the design page. If you already got a team doing rapid prototyping, you've already got an additive manufacturing team on site, how fast could you innovate with in-house production additive manufacturing? So we would love to help you bring resin on site. We're happy to recommend our favorite printers to you and post-processing equipment. We're also happy to work together. Our resins are printable on a really wide array of DLP style stereolithography printers, and we're happy to curate a full stack solution for your team. Hit us up at polyspectra.com/start here. And finally, if you have a product that is currently impossible to make with existing additive manufacturing solutions, we've got a very special email address, partners@polyspectra.com. This is really fun. We love working on really, really big problems where our customers say, we have tried everything. There's nothing out there. It's all vaporware. We cannot make the production version of this today. We would love to help you see if there's a good fit per Core Alpha. If there isn't, we're happy to tell you it's not a silver bullet for everything, but we do have extremely rugged materials and an extremely expert engineering team that can take a look at your application and see if there is a good way to work together. So to wrap it up, I mentioned this before, polySpectra's founding mission is to create engineering-grade additive materials to help designers, inventors, and engineers make their ideas real. This is why I started the company. My name is Raymond Weitekamp. I am the founder and CEO of polySpectra. We would be delighted to help you, to help your organization make the transition into digital manufacturing, and we would be excited to chat with you, learn a little bit more about your application, and see how we might be able to help you make it real. Thank you very much.